Hello everyone and welcome back to the High Council. Today we are looking at the databank download for Boushh, Leia, Lando and R2-D2 for Star Wars Shatterpoint. So we've got the picture here, Lando and R2 here, looking very cool. Obviously this is predominantly all themed around the Return of the Jedi to celebrate, I think it's the 40th anniversary coming out next year of it. So yeah, we've got the look at R2 and Lando there, all looking very cool. But we need to get into the article and see exactly what is going on here. So you have this inside job preview is particularly fun, themed at a set of characters featuring the spy tag. So spy is going to be new. It is something currently not on any characters in the game. So this is going to be something that either just applies to these group of characters particularly, or more people as they come out a bit further down the line. So we know this is Return of the Jedi themed, and they are on the search for Han Solo, who's obviously frozen in carbonite, and we've got their Leia as Boushh. So we've got seeking to recover Han Solo. So this includes Leia Organa disguised as the Ubies, bounty hunter Boushh, Lando in the uniform of one of Jabba's guards, and R2-D2 transformed into a cocktail-serving droid to take advantage of all his hidden compartments to stow vital weapons, such as a certain Jedi's lightsaber. So let's have a little look at what we get down into here. This is quite cool, I think, from the article. So Leia came into possession of Boushh's armour with the assistance of Maz Kanata on the planet of Ord Mantell. After knocking the bounty hunter unconscious while in pursuit of information on the fate of the recently captured Han Solo. So that's very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that before. But let's have a look at her card here. So this is what we are kind of here for. So not that one, this one here. So yeah, Boushh as Leia Organa is 4 points cost, 0 force, and then Boushh Leia Organa is a secondary unit. And she has a tactics ability, an active, a reactive, and an innate ability as well. And she has the tags Bounty Hunter, Rebel Alliance, Scoundrel, and Spy. And then has a 9 stamina and 2 durability. So kind of quite typical values for a secondary. But let's have a look at her abilities. So the first one, Fan Out. So at the start of this unit's activation, one character in this unit or another allied spy character may reposition. So very cool to get away from the if you're engaged, you've obviously got that free, essentially the free advance, either if you're engaged or not engaged. So very nice to get some really long movement there. And then we've got the active ability Low Blow, which is going to cost 2 force. So choose a character in this unit and an enemy character it is engaged with. Push the chosen enemy character range 2 away from the chosen allied character. Then push the chosen allied character range 2 toward the chosen enemy character. After all moves are resolved, this unit may make a focus action. So quite interesting here. You are essentially shifting both you and your opponent range 2. So can be used very cool to get a character out of an objective, objective capturing, whilst you then get to move in. And then we get the free focus from it as well, so that is also very good, and it's going to add dice to her attack, which she's going to make, which we'll have a look at in a bit. And then we've got Fearless and Inventive, which is obviously the name of the squad pack, which is going to cost 1 force, and this is a reactive ability. So when a character in this unit makes a melee attack as part of a combat action before dice are rolled, this unit may use this ability. Add 2 dice to the attack roll for each enemy character other than the target that is not wounded and is engaged with 1 or more characters in this unit. So I guess this is kind of that sort of all or nothing kind of moment where, you know, she's standing in Jabba's palace and is threatening everyone with the thermal detonator. So the more people that are around her, the more dice that she's going to add on to her attack, which we'll get into it. Is going to be pretty hefty, but I don't think you're potentially not going to get maybe more than 2. Like you're probably going to be engaged with one other unit, or one other character. So you're probably only actually ever going to roll an additional 2 dice. It might be quite situational, and you might actually get another 4 dice, another 6 dice, anything like that, just depending on how the game is played. But 1 force for an extra 2 dice in your attack roll, because you're engaged with 2 enemies. Yeah, pretty good. You'd probably take it, right? And then lastly, the innate ability. I want 50,000, no less. So when a character in this unit wounds an enemy primary unit, it gains an additional momentum token unless that unit's controlling player spends some force. So you're gonna be going after primary units, probably aiming towards the primaries with Leia, and just getting your opponent to use up as much of that precious force resource instead of just giving it for free. It's a tough call, I think, and if you want to spend the force probably to stop the momentum token, but obviously going to be very situational again, depending on who you are playing against. So they are Leia's abilities. Let's see what this says about her. So, despite her small, doesn't say anything up here. Oh, it does say, fan art provides a highly useful reposition for either her or another spy. At the start of every activation, which ignores being engaged, as we kind of referenced. And then, yeah, you can use low blow for an additional, to do some additional moving around and get a free focus. And then, yeah, just as that, then the next part, all it talks about is you can combine Fearless and Inventive with the focus action that she took if she did things like low blow to give her more melee attacks. So let's have a look. This is then her stance card. So Rough and Tumble. She's got the same attack dice. So if she's a ranged 4, she's going to be throwing 6 attack dice, or if she's engaged in melee, she's throwing 6 attack dice. And then she has got, interesting, this is probably one of the characters that has got more defensive dice in melee than they have in range. So yeah, it's rolling 6 dice defensively in a melee attack, but only 5 against a ranged attack. So you are definitely going to want her to get up there, kind of up close and personal with other people. And if we look at her expertise, so with her heavy blaster pistol, so a range attack, 1 expertise is giving you, 1 to 2 is giving you 1 crit, 3 is going to give you a crit and an auto damage, and 4+ is going to give you 2 crits and auto damage. And obviously we like auto damage. It's very cool. It's unblockable, so that's very nice. And then we've got in melee, 1 expertise is just going to become straight up 1 damage. Very, very cool. 2 to 3 is becoming a hit and a damage, and 4+ is becoming a crit and a damage as well. So again, auto damage all there, we really like. And then her defensive expertise, the Bounty Hunter armor. So 1 to 2 is going to give you 1 block, or 3+ is going to give you a block, and then also turn a crit into a failure. Something else that we really like, turning crit straight to failures, makes your opponent feel very bad. It's very disheartening when my opponents pull out turn that crit to a failure, and then I'm going to block some of your hits as well. So yeah, very, very cool. But obviously the chances of getting that 3 expertise there may be doable with the 6 dice, but not as often as you're going to roll other results. And then if we just have a look at her combat tree, so she's going to start with 1 damage and the pinned condition, and then has a choice to make. And we're going to see choices the entire way down. So we can either go along the top tree and do a damage and the disarmed, or we can come down to the bottom tree and do the shove and 2 damage. So depending if we want to pull out that damage or pull out those conditions, really. And then interestingly, if we go to if we then go along the bottom, we've got to go to the next tree, which is 1 damage. But if we chose that the disarmed and the damage in the first tree, we then get another choice to make. If we either come down to the bottom and also choose 1 damage, or if we go along and do 1 strained. Strained, very powerful, I think. Basically, you're going to remove an action from the opponent. And then if you take that strain condition, you've then got to take the exposed and the damage condition, or the damage. But then again, if you've come down and you're in that single damage, you then get another choice where you can either do 2 damage or go up and have the damage and the exposed, followed by a final 3 damage if you get all the way over to 5 successes. So yeah, she does pack a bit of a punch. So these 6 dice that you're going to be rolling in an attack, potentially 7 with the low blow with the focus, potentially another 2 with the fearless and inventive. So you can see that getting to the end of this combat tree probably not going to be as impossible as it may be on the face of it. In terms of if you go along that entire top tree, you're giving every single condition out. You're giving, the pin, the disarm, the strained, and the exposed, along with not so much damage. But if you really wanted to maximise damage, you are going to be doing, I think it's 7 I counted. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 even. So 9 damage with 5 successes. Yeah, very powerful work. Like an average of sort of 2 damage per success, or just under 2. So yeah, you can see that she's going to put out some damage. If you add that with maybe the expertise, auto damage, and the ability to put out 10 damage in a turn on a secondary, is, I think, particularly strong. So we've got that there. So let's see if they say anything else here. No. So rough and tumble stance provides a pen chart for dirty fighting, making use of every advantage of misdirection. It does feel a bit very, very bounty huntery. And then we've got. So we've then got So we then start talking about Lando and R2-D2. So that is everything for Boushh. Leia, obviously one of 2 layers that's going to be out in the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, because you also get Endor Leia in one of the Ewok packs coming out. But then we move on to Lando and R2 inside job, who are here. So they are going to be 3 points cost, so probably a little bit less than I expected, for 2 such high profile characters. And they are providing 0 force, and they are Lando and R2-D2 inside job. And I think this is the first time that we've seen a supporting unit with 2 different unique names on it, because we've got Lando Calrissian and R2-D2 on there. So obviously just a reminder that if you did take this, you then can take Lando as a secondary unit, or R2 as a secondary or another supporting, or anything like that. So Lando and R2 have the Rebel Alliance, Scoundrel and Spy tags. They have a stamina of 7, a durability of 2, and they've got 1 active, 2 reactives, and an innate ability. So we look at the first one, the active ability Mingle. It costs 1 force. Each character in this unit may dash. If there are no enemy characters within range 3, each character in this unit may advance instead. So very nice to get some. Free movement is always good, so you don't have to waste one of your 2 actions on it, or the ability to get like a double movement out of the way. Is very cool, and obviously you're always going to get the dash for the first probably turn or 2. You're going to get the advance as well. So yeah, very nice for 1 force. And then we've got the element of surprise, which costs 1 force. When this unit makes a combat action before dice are rolled, it may use this ability. Characters in this unit add 2 dice to each attack roll made as part of the combat action. After each attack is resolved, if the attack roll contains 2 or more failures, this unit gains the exposed condition. So this is, I think this is quite cool, because it specifically states that when this unit makes a combat action, each attack roll made as part of the combat action. So normally a lot of the abilities will give, the next time a unit makes a combat action, it adds 2 dice to the attack roll. Whereas this is saying that both characters benefit from it, so to each attack roll made as part of the combat action, which is very cool. So yeah, probably very good for 1 force cost. We've then got forward planning. When an allied primary unit within range 4 or an allied secondary unit within range 4 starts its activation, this unit may use this ability. That activating unit may remove 1 condition from itself. So very nice. You keep them in that range 4 bubble, and they're essentially giving that a free heal every time that a primary or a secondary within range 4 activates, which is awesome stuff. And then Clever Disguise, this innate ability. Whilst this unit's order card is in the order deck or in reserve, characters in this unit cannot be targeted with ranged attacks. So you're potentially you are going to want to keep them to go as late as possible, to keep them as safe as possible, basically. Stop them from being hit with ranged attacks. Very cool. Something very, very cool, and something that will definitely keep them safe. Just remember that it's all the time, so you're going to want to, either if you get them out early, you are probably going to want to keep them in reserve and just keep them as safe as possible, or you're going to be forcing your opponent to come and get towards you and get into that engaged range, which we will then see how wonderful it is. So they've got Leia will prefer to spring into ambush with the assistance of Lando and R2, who can position themselves where she needs to be. Thanks to clever disguise, this player may evade being targeted by range attacks as long as all the card is in deck or reserve. Further, they can mingle to move swiftly to get where they need to be, which we talked about. And then we're going to look at their on the sly here, this stance card. So on the sly is going to be, so it's a ranged 5 dice attack or an engaged 6 dice attack, and we're rolling 5 defensively for both ranged attacks and engaged attacks. If we're going to look at the expertise there, we've got the ranged Watchful Eye. 1 to 2 is going to give you auto damage. We like auto damage. 3 is giving you a hit and auto damage, and 4+ is giving you a crit, a hit, and an auto damage as well. In melee, we've got 1 to 2 just becoming 1 hit, 3 becoming a hit and a crit, and 4+ becoming a crit, a hit, and a damage as well. So basically, the 1 to 2 for Watchful Eye and Unexpected Result, 1 to 2, and then 3, exactly the same, except that first one is giving you damage on a range attack instead of a hit on a melee attack. And then the defensive expertise, Slippery. So 1 expertise becomes 1 block, 2 becomes a block and turn a crit to a hit, and then 3+ becomes 2 blocks and turn a crit to a hit as well. So definitely some good tech there to keep them as safe as possible. And then we get into the combat tree, and we've got another combat tree here with a lot of different options. So first thing we are starting off with is 2 auto damage. Very, very nice, like quite a strong one for the first ability to use. And then the second option there is then 1 damage and a shove. And we get our first choice to make. So we can either stay in the middle and go with a damage and a heal, or we can go along to the bottom and we can go for a pinned and a heal as well. So either we're going to put out some extra damage or we're going to put out a heal. And then if we're in that middle tree, we can go up to the top for either 2 heals, or we can stay in going along that centre path for the disarmed and the damage condition. And if we are along the bottom, we can either stay along the bottom and go for the advance, or we can go up to the middle and hit that damaged and disarmed condition as well. And then the final one, we're finishing off with a flourish of 2 damage as well. So we're doing some good damage at the start, good damage at the end, and then throughout the middle there we've got a little bit of damage, but also some conditions, some heals, things like that. So I think in total maximum damage output is 7 from these, which is straight through the middle tree. But you're probably potentially going to want to get some heals out, get some other conditions off, things like that. So you may decide you're not going to go that way. And then, is there anything else there? So, no, that is everything. Yeah, I really like Lando and Leia. I think he's going to be very cool. I'm really looking forward to getting them out on the table. I think that this, I think Leia's going to be like a surprisingly little hidden gem of a secondary. Obviously, she's going to be the only Rebel secondary at the minute. We'll see what we get from when we look at the other Rebel secondaries that are going to be coming out. So I think we get R2 and 3PO. We get Wicket, and we get I think it's Logray, or Chief Sherpa, or Paplu. There's definitely another Ewok secondary, I believe. So it'll be interesting to compare them all to that. I think you're going to really enjoy the synergy between the spy in Boushh and then the spy with Lando and R2 as well. And obviously, if you're a big fan of Return of the Jedi, this is definitely the pack, or the pack, one of the packs to get. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. It'll be cool. We've already seen that we've got, obviously, this is the picture. We already know that this R2 can be built without the server droid kind of outfit. I know it's not an outfit because he's a droid, but without that server droid piece on the top. So we know that that's available, and And yeah, it should be out. I think it's out in a couple of weeks. Although I think Atomic Mass did post something quite recently about potentially having a few short delays with some stuff. So we'll see if it comes out in a couple of weeks or if it comes out in the middle of February. Either way, it'll be on the table, and I look forward to playing it. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you very much for checking it out. Check out some of my other databank downloads that are out. So we've got Luke Skywalker's and Darth Vader we did as a double bill, and just after this we've got Stormtroopers coming as well. So yeah, thank you very much if you're still here. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next video.